Okay, so continuing on in the Perkei Psicha of Rav Shimshon now. So again, what do we speak about? Just a quick brief summary about what we've been speaking about to this point. Again, obviously the real introductions and just getting to understand where our core issues are in tefillah, where our core we need to grow, how are we going to grow, what's our derech to grow, like all these different things we were discussing. The last thing we spoke about was a magnificent concept, an unbelievable concept, to help us kind of understand what is tefillah, what does it actually mean, right? Because a lot of us, again, we kind of think of like a tefillah as like, it's like a spiritual ATM. You need some parnasa, you say Shemona Esrei, okay, good enough, and then you go, why didn't you go to Mincha? You already asked that morning, what do we need now, right? But we've kind of realized, and we're starting to understand a little bit just from these introductory remarks, that there's a whole different system. That it's not just simply just go and ask God for things. That the whole world was actually built upon the concept of tefillah. That's what we said. That it says in Parshas Bereshit explicitly, it says that Hashem created the grass on Yom Shlishi. Then it says the grass sprouted on Yom Shishi. Why? What's the difference? Because Hashem created the grass twice. What's going on? And then it says not only was the grass created on Yom Shishi, it says specifically because of the fact that on Yom Shishi there was, Hashem made it rain because there was man there to work the fields. Okay, what's going on? Because the idea is, the implication is that the only reason that the grass was created on Yom Shlishi, but it was created under the ground, right under the ground. And only on Yom Shishi, when Adam was there to, so to speak, to work the fields, to daven, then when Adam was there and he davened for rain, that's when Hashem made the rain come down and then the grass actually sprouted. And so, the Maisa, what we understand from this concept, is the way HaKadosh Baruch Hu built this system with tefillah, is that just like that, in the entire world, there's no such thing as any sort of shefa. Zero bracha that comes to this world that does not go by way of tefillah. That could be parnasa, that could be health, that could be success in learning about tefillah, that could be success in learning. There's no such thing as something that Hashem will send to this world without tefillah. We see that explicitly, and that's where we learn that concept from. And that's also why we said that this generation has this unique connection to tefillah, like no other generation has had, right? Because the fact is that we said, it's a rule, you could have all the merits in the world, you could have all the mitzvahs in the world, you could have all of the zechus, you could have all the Torah learning in the world, but if you don't daven properly, if you don't actually understand how to daven and open the gate, it's never going to come. Everything comes through the sharim of tefillah. That's the idea, right? So that's what we spoke about at this point. Yeah, big there.
What about non-reserved rich, like crazy rich, don't daven?
Great question. So we're going to discuss that.
Oh, we said, it's like, you're able to become rich or not, your money isn't blessed from Hashem.
Good, exactly. That's all. That's a fundamental answer. The main fundamental answer is, like we said also last time, is it's like also based on something, an idea that's in like Chovos Levavos too, which just says that basically that Hashem says it's a scary thing that if you want to put your bitachon, if you want to put your trust into man, Hashem says no problem. You could do that. If you want to put your trust into man, if you don't want to turn to me, you want to be so worried and so freaked out that your boss is going to mess you over in this, you want to put all your trust in him, you don't want to dive into me, fine, no problem. How about this? I'm going to put all of your success into his hands. I'm not saying you're going to fail. I'm saying I'm not saying you're going to get messed over. I'm not making you get messed over. I'm not like mad at you. It's not a personal thing. But if you want to trust him, go ahead. You can trust him. And then it is. Then the guy's given the free will. Is he going to mess you over or not? But the point is, the money that either you get or you lose, it doesn't have a divine hand in it, right? So you might gain from it. But again, we know that any money that's not blessed with divine hand ultimately is there, even if it stays with you. But where does that money come from? Is that blessed by your life? Again, you might see people doing good things with money. It's other discussion. It's a great question. It's a great discussion. We'll discuss it more about where the tefillah is going. Whatnot. We'll get into that. But let's go right there for now. So continuing on. So mizbarim divrei chazal benida. So the Gemara in Nida says, Ma yasa adam v'yechakim. So we said a similar Gemara previously. So they came up, and I think they came to Rabbi Shiur, and they said, what should a person do to become a chacham, right? And he said, Ya Rabbi Yeshiva v'yimay b'schara. He says that a person should, do less business and sit more in yeshiva. Okay, nice. Amru, they said back, okay, Rebbe, relax. Asukain, harbe asukain, but lo ho'i alahem. Many people have done that, and it didn't do anything. So what do you want from me? Ella, so he says, okay, fine, you're right. Ella yavakshu rachamim, mimi shechochma shalo. Rather, fine, you got me. You should ask for rachamim, you should daven, you should ask Hashem to give you chachma. Shenemar, it says in the Torah, ki Hashem yitain chachma mipiv ta'asas vuna. Because it says explicitly in the Torah that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives chachma from his mouth, mipiv ta'asas vuna. Hashem gives it. So he says, fine, you're right. So what should you do? If sitting down and learning is not going to do anything, then you should daven. Okay, fine. My kamash malan. What's this going to teach us? Right? Perish Rashi. Lama leila meimar lehu yarab yeshiva ho berachim hadavar tole. So what was the point? Right? So the obvious question that Rashi asks is saying like, What was the point of the first point of him even answering the question? Why did he even bring the first answer of you should do less business and learn more Torah, and then you become more of a chacham? If ultimately his answer was just gonna, if he was gonna agree to reject his answer and then just say, nah, yeah, you're right, just daven. Because why? Deha beloha lo sagya. Ha beha lo sagya. This without that does not suffice. What do we learn? We see explicitly the source of the Gemara that you can learn as much Torah as you want. You could be zoche in terms of your merits. You could be zoche in important amounts of the chachma you've acquired. But if you don't daven, if you don't actually ask Hashem for it, if you don't actually put in the tefillah, you're not going to get it. It's not going to come down. It's explicit in the Gemara. That's what we see. And what do we see? We see again, the Gemara continues. It says, Ma yaseh adam v'yisasher. Another good question. Rebbe, how does one become rich? We all want to become rich. How does one become rich? So he says, Yisav yite memuna. He says, do business faithfully and that's it. You'll be good. Just stay honest and you're good. Harbe also came below ilu. Okay, but many people do business honestly. And what happens? They don't become rich. So what does he say? Eli yavakish rachamim mi she'oshe shelo. Rather, you should ask for rachamim and ask for money from the one who owns all the money in the world. Shenamar li akesef v'li zav. Hakadosh Baruch Hu li akesef li zav. I'm in charge of the money. I'm in charge of the gold. My kamash malan. The ha beloha lo sagi. This without that does not suffice. Again, the same concept. And third and finally, again in this Gemara, again explicitly, another one. The Gemara is hammering it home 1, 2, 3 times. Again, the Gemara keeps on telling us, how does one have male children? You can see the Gemara there. So the same thing. So we see this concept explicit in the Gemara, just giving us a tap into recognition that tefillah is not just as simply as an ATM, not an ATM situation. It's a system. Tefillah is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's way, is how he actually created the system of how Shefa, how Baruch makes it down from Shemayim into this world, into your life, and how do we tap into it? How do we unlock it? And the people who don't want to grab onto that, don't have that, they're missing out their entire life. You can miss your entire life, he's going to say. And it's a scary thing he's going to say at some point. I remember he says it here, that some people go their entire life without even having one proper tefillah. And it's not because of anybody else's fault besides themselves. And you can talk about it in a few minutes, about why is that? Let's see. So, we see that these 3 matanos gedolos, chachma, osher, banim, right, wealth, chachma, and sons. Yesh derech bekedusha lahasig kol achas mehem. There's a way to achieve all of them. B'derech kedusha. They're all the way to achieve them is all in a way of tapping into Hashem's holy system. Umikol makom harbe yishtalu b'derech zo v'lo zachu. And we see that there's still many people. Many people do what? Who still try to who do this and they're not zocha. Why? Mishum shadvarim misakvi mipnei chisar natfila. Because the fact that we just saw. Because the sole reason that they're lacking in tefillah. The fact that they don't have tefillah, the fact that they don't have David, is misakiv all this bracha. The tefillah he chachma, tefillah he amak bepatish. It's the finishing touch. It's the finishing blow. La sagas kol brachos kulam. In order to achieve and to grab onto all these brachos. We're not saying you're not going to get anything. I'm not saying you're not going to get anything, right? Because again, the point is obviously we're alive, and most of us haven't davened. But the point is that's again what we spoke about last time. Kol shekin, kol shekin, kol shekin. We have all this bracha in our lives right now. When we daven, when we don't even put any effort into davening, we don't even put any thought into our davening. And this is the beautiful life that we have. Zocheh to be learning in Yeshiva and Eretz Yisrael with clothes on our backs. We do family. Kal v'chomer, kol shekin, a million times, a million, infinity. What can we actually unlock? If we actually have the Makah B'Patish, which is the final blow. What else can we accomplish, right? Because the point is we're not accomplishing anything right now. If we don't put the time into our tefillah, what does he say? Imkein, mam o nachutz lilmod et sidre v'darech tefillah. He says it's so important. It's so essential. He's emphasizing. He's talking to every single Bnei Yeshiva. He's mamish talking specifically to Bachrim. He's talking to guys in Yeshiva, saying it's so important to learn about tefillah. Learn the ways of tefillah. Be mishakeya into it. Actually put effort into it. This is the gemar malacha, mamish, the final blow. So all the bracha that comes in this world. This is the way to achieve any bracha in both ruchnius and gashmius. It's only misaki because we're lacking tefillah. Umi sheyodea kam matanos tovos be'Hashem yisbarach tziburim ve'omdim lanu bePesach Shari Shemayim umechakim lepsichas hasha'arim ayidei mafteach hatefillah. Who knows? Kam matanos tovos. Who knows how many matanos tovos? How much bracha HaKadosh Baruch Hu has waiting for us? Literally sitting right now at this moment on the edge of Shemayim. It's got our name written on it. It's got its destination. It's got the stamp ready to go. It's got our address on it. It's set to come. This beautiful bracha of whatever it is. We're not understanding Shir, the bracha of Chachma, of understanding Bava Metzia, understanding how to connect to Hashem through Bava Metzia. It's sitting on the edge, right? But we don't know because the only way to unlock it is the maftech, is the key of tefillah, opening the sharim b'tefillah. So Amna Ma'adam Amar b'tefillah. Kol ha'matanos mizumanos u'mitzuyos lo. V'yiftachim ha'sha'arim. V'yacholu kol ha'brachos kula ma'rosho. And the only way the one who taps in is when you start actually understanding and applying the concepts of taking your effort and learning how to daven. So, we got chelik beis. Mine yesodos la'atzlocha ba'avodas tefillah. He who lishtadel ba b'derech gados v'aliyah. And now we're going into the practically speaking. How do we grow? So he says, now we're talking about, we understand, we talked about this, that tefillah is the ikr. Tefillah is the ikr to achieve any bracha in this world. Nothing comes out of the tefillah. So how do we do that? What do we do? So the ikr is that it's a level by level, step by step process. It has to be that you have to put the effort and the work to go up level by level, step by step. Be'amal haTorah pashut. When a person is amel and Torah, when a person is toiling in limud Torah, it's pashut that what it's obvious. Shema Torah, that the goal hila los madrega achar madrega. It's an obvious point that doesn't even need to be said. That your goal in limud Torah is to go level by level, step by step. Why? That's obviously our entire ikr and our entire goal. Because somebody learns many years, learns Torah for many years. And it's let's say someone spends 75 years learning, spends 75 years in kollel, and if you reach the end of the 75 years and you find yourself at the same level you were than when you came in, right? It's obviously a travesty. It's a failure. Yeah. Yikes! It's a big yikes, right? It's a failure. It's an obvious failure. Doesn't need it's a simple understanding of life. Is just the goal in Torah is to grow. But he says the not so obvious thing that people don't realize, people don't think about, is that the same thing is in tefillah. Tefillah is the same thing. We need to grow in tefillah day by day, year by year, right? Minute by minute. That's what tefillah says, and we could all think for a second, like, oh yeah, totally, yeah, we know this. It's not like a chiddush, but is it really a chiddush? Really think about it for a second. Is it really a chiddush? Do we really try and put the same effort? We know the effort we put into limud Torah. We spent our whole Shana Aleph trying to understand this, understand that, and all of a sudden I get the Shana Bet, and I go, oh wow, we actually understand this, and all of a sudden your Shana Aleph is nothing like what you were when you were just learning the Aleph phase, right? Like every year you try to level up. You're trying to level up in everything. You're putting conscious effort into leveling up. But are we putting conscious effort into leveling up in tefillah? The answer is most likely not. And what is David? Tzarech liyosh eino dom tefillah bachar b'shir aleph shemispalo kamo tzarim matchil letefillah bachar b'shir beis. Right, same concept. He says that a person in shir aleph, as in like kita aleph shemispalo kamo tzarim matchil, right? Like you're starting in first grade, you're starting to daven, you're just starting out, you're just singing Adon Olam out loud, and that's it. And then you stop after, then you say Shema, and then you stop, and then you go to snack time and recess, right? Okay, and he says that tefillah should not be the same as shir beis, as second grade. When you get the second grade, you should be doing what? Now, as you continue on in your limud Torah, right? The more you start to get more of a Torah brain, the more of a godly brain, right? The more you should be increasing your tefillah as well, right? It's simple, same concept. Just like you grow in Torah, you should be growing in tefillah. Every single stage, every single day needs to be another level. The kol shekein bacher b'shir gimel shekvar omer chaburam bizman lezman umechadish chidushay Torah. Now you get to another kid. He's talking about a third grader, but he's a third grader who's already giving chidushay Torah and giving chaburas or whatever it is. Right? I don't know. It sounds like he sent his kids to a good school, but where I went to, I don't even know what I was doing. By the time I was in third grade, what is that? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should think about where Shimshon sent. But my lacher is a gamri. But kol shekein bacher b'shir, right? So tefillah needs to be in a whole nother sugya. He shouldn't just be belting on Don Olam and calling it a day, right? You need to be in another place. He's starting to learn Shemona Esrei, starting to actually learn how to daven, starting to try to think about it. Right? And this fire should start to burn within you to get closer and closer to Hashem. You should start to actually have a desire to actually get close to Hashem in life, to seek out God in life, to seek out truth in life. As you start to grow and you start to see that there's much more to the world than just sports and stupidity, right? There's much more to the world. As you get older, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and you more high school, yeshiva, you start to see that there's more and you want more. You want to get deeper in life. It says with that should come also growth in tefillah. The kach mishana, excuse me, kach mishana l'shana yelech v'yagdil yagada b'torah b'tefillah. And you should be growing year in year, not just in Torah but in tefillah. This is a chiddush. This is honestly a chiddush for us to hear this and really think about it. Like we don't think about our growth in tefillah. We don't think about it at all. We really don't put any thought into it, right? We just daven. I guarantee you, for most of us, we're davening the same way we've davened our entire lives since we started to learn how to daven. We just do the same thing. What do? We read the words, and during Shema Kolenu we ask for whatever we want, and that's it. We call it a day. Right? That's literally, we've all been doing the same things. And maybe in Shana Aleph, maybe we decided to take a step, we had to go buy an interlinear sitter. Maybe we made it an interlinear sitter. Okay, just that. But we don't view ourselves as actually growing. We could see our growth day to day in Torah. We don't see our growth day to day. We don't put conscious effort into our day to day tefillah. He said this is a tragic mistake. He says this is the reason we don't connect to tefillah. He says this is nobody else's fault but ours. He says this is the system. The system we have is a failure in a way. Is that we just neglect tefillah. This is the way it needs to be. And now he's going to say practically, Kama oluv hamatzav shebachar hanichnas l'shir rishon b'yeshiva v'yotzei achar kama shanim shal his godless b'limad talmud chacham me'ula. How many times do we see that somebody enters into shir rishon at the first grade and then they leave after many years and mamish a talmud chacham? You go into first grade and then you come out of yeshiva and you're Talmud Chacham. All of a sudden, these guys, you know what you do. You can fight and whatever. By Hagalacha, by Gemara, ula umazeh betfilah yosei kamo bayom shenichnas. But yet, somehow, in some way, right? We all see this in yeshiva. We all come into yeshiva. Shana Aleph. You come out of Shana Aleph. You come out of Talmud Chacham. Mamish, you didn't know how to learn a Gemara before. Now you know how to learn a Gemara. You didn't know how to do this. But what do? We come out with tefillah not just the same. Vilavai lo garu mizah. And it's very possible it might be even worse. Because now we're just trying to run. Now we're trying to just get to our Torah. How many times have I seen this already? That guys in yeshiva are just like, now they start learning. Now they just want to get through davening as fast as they possibly can because they want to get to their learning and do whatever it is. And they neglect tefillah even more than they used to. The kol kach lama, he says it's not a chiddush, don't feel bad. He says this is a real thing. He says we all go through it. It's hard. The kol kach lama, why is this the case? We don't put any avoda, any osek into tefillah. We don't see a need. We don't see a need to grow in it. Okay, the words are the same as they were when I started. What's the difference? What's pshat? We don't see a need to grow in it. If I just read the words and get through it, so I get to my learning, my morning seder, I'm fine. And the truth is, he says, I understand. He's like, I understand why we're such a failure in tefillah. He's like, the point is, he's like, if we don't have the building blocks, we don't build the blocks step by step, we're never going to feel it. Right? This is what I was saying a couple weeks ago when I think the worst eitzah in the world is when guys ask Rebbeim and they say, and they say like, how do I grow in tefillah? And Rebbeim are like, oh, just start showing up and you'll connect eventually. I think that's the worst eitzah in the world. What does that even mean? Yeah, that's step number one. You got to start showing up in order to daven. Like, don't think you're going to grow in tefillah if you don't go to davening. But that's not at all. Rav Shimshon is saying that is the tragedy, that's the mistake that we make. We just think we just show up and read the words, then eventually we'll grow. But he says it's an avoda. We need to do what we're doing right now. We need to have tefillah chabur. We need to learn. We need to learn svarim tefillah. We need to understand. We need to actually understand the way to do it. He says there's a way to daven. There's a way to unlock the gates of Shemaim. And we're going to, in the last paragraph here, V'adava ramuz v'pasuk deitei b'nuchanetzar. The pasuk is written in Melachim, Beis Vanu Nebuchadnezzar. V'yisrof as Beis Hashem. He burned down the Beis Hashem b'chulu. V'ez bayis gadol saraf b'eish. And every home of every great person, of every bayis gadol, he burned down. A Persha Chazal, the Gemara Megillah Kav Zayin says, Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Chadam ar makom shemagdilin b'Torah. What is this great home? What is the home of the great people that was burnt down? What is the Torah referring to as home of the great people? So the first parish is that it's the place where they grow in Torah. The base medrash, or their home, or where they were growing in Torah, whatever it is. But the point is where they grew in Torah. The chadam or makom shemagdalin lo b'tefillah. The place where megadel b'tefillah, the place where they grew in tefillah, where they learned how to daven and put actual effort in avoda, the base knesses, right, where they actually put effort into tefillah. They had their highlighter out, they had their sitter out, they had their tefillah svarim out, they had their avoda out. Hare de kamosha base medrash makom leizgada b'Torah. Just like the base medrash is a makom the mizgada b'Torah. Kain base at tefillah, the base knesses makom leizgada b'Tefillah. Just so too the base knesses is your place to grow in tefillah. You have the base medrash limit Torah, the base knesses limit tefillah, right? V'kvar amru chazal at tefillah. Hadivarim ha'omdim beruma shalom. And this is a very famous teaching that there's certain things that the entire world literally stands on. That the entire world, that if these three things weren't there, the world would collapse. The world would be destroyed. Three things. What are those things? Uvnei Adam is zalzim b'hem. But yet, Uvnei Adam is zalzim b'hem. but yet we trample on them. We ignore them. There are three things that the world stands on. If we literally didn't take them seriously, then the world would be destroyed. And one of those things? Shalshudas. No, okay, I say that in my Shalshudas share. But okay, whatever. Either way. But no, Tefillah, right? Good. Tefillah, we know the other ones. What are the other ones? I mean, good, beautiful. Tefillah, right? Torah, Kamilas Chasadim, right? Really avoda. But again, that's also an interesting. I'm not sure if he says it here, but that's another thing. That actually say the three things aside one more time. What were they out loud? Good. Do you know the actual word that he uses for tefillah? It doesn't say tefillah. Do you know what it says? Avoda. Good. Avoda. So what's the idea? Why does it not say tefillah? What is avoda? This is a lot of perushim. We'll actually go into this, but the point is, tefillah is an avoda. He says the reason why we mezalzel it, because we just say tefillah, move on. It's an avoda. Tefillah is an avoda. It's not just simply tefillah. It's an avoda. How do you do an avoda? You have to learn it. You have to work on it. You have to put conscious effort into it. You can't just read the words and go. It's tefillah and avoda, right? And so the last couple lines here. V'hinei v'adai she evshel l'adam she'egia l'ruma shel olam mibli she'ishtamish b'sulam ha'movil l'sham. Right? That we're saying that it's impossible for a person to get to the ruma shel olam. We just said that there's three things in the highest places of the world that the entire world stands on. It's impossible for a person to get to those places, right? Without climbing up a ladder. You need a ladder to get there. How else are you going to get to the top? You need a ladder. But what? They are omed yom yom. Yom liyara sulam ve'osa kafas vivo. So let's say you have the guy though. We have the ladder. Let's say you have the ladder, and the ladder leads to the Ruma Shailam. The ladder goes all the way up to the highest places, to the things that the entire world stands on. And what do? There's a guy there just circling the ladder every single day. 1 akafa, 2 akafas, 3 akafas, 4 akafas. And sometimes he looks up, and he looks up to the top, and he like thinks like, wow, I want to get to the top so badly. I want that. If he doesn't just take the first step and climb step after step after step after step, and actually climb up the ladder, Yavru shanim shalakofos. He's still going to be on the ground. He's going to sit there. And this guy is going to do what? He's going to do a kafas around the ladder. He's going to look up the ladder. He's going to take the first step. Come on. No, I can't do it. Okay, jump down. Okay, but I want to. And his whole life, and then finally he's going to all of a sudden become 75 years old, and he's still going to be standing on the ground. The ladder is avodas hatfilah. The ladder is limud hatfilah. It's avodas hatfilah. So many of us just stand around and circle the ladder. Right? When we just come to davening like a bunch of deadbeats, and we don't even think about the word. We don't even think about trying to learn about it. We just come and we hope eventually it'll click. That's ridiculous. It doesn't just click. You have to climb the ladder. The ladder is the avodah, and the ladder is a sefer like this. This is a sefer like this. Is that what we're doing right now? This chabura, this is the avodah that he's talking about. It's essential. And he's saying, by doing this, you're there. This is your avodah. Right? And he's like you said last time, it doesn't take precedence over limud Torah in the sense. It goes hand in hand. He says you need to have limud Torah. You need to have Torah seders. You need to have tefillah seders. You don't have tefillah seder, you're never going to grow in tefillah, and that's it. So Pashup Pshat, that's what we need to do. He's giving us now again the opening about what we need to do in the chashivas of recognizing that avodas tefillah needs to be step by step and day by day, and that's what we're doing right now. Be'ez Hashem, shkoyach guys.